show you how to paint nectarines in a glass bowl with a dark background. And we're going to get started. I already, there's some blue highlights on the glass bowl, and I already put that in, and I'll paint the nectarines around that so that we've already saved that space. Another way to go about it would be just to leave those spaces without paint and then paint them blue later. My palette, the blue I used was cerulean blue. If you don't have that, you could use manganese, any blue that's a greenish blue, or even phthalo, very pale with lots of water in it, mixed with medium yellow to make a greenish feeling in some spots, just to break it up. And I just want to show you ahead of time, when you want to make a dark background, you can go very dark with burnt sienna and any blue, even, well, I wouldn't choose particularly cerulean, but definitely manganese blue will give you a beautiful dark brown without having to buy a brown pigment. The nectarines, I'm using cadmium red or cadmium red light, whatever you have, alizarin crimson for the darker areas, a medium yellow and a deep yellow. And there may just be a hint of pale yellow in there on some of these nectarines. But so here is cerulean, or manganese would be similar, blue mixed with alizarin crimson. It goes a little grayish. So instead I might introduce ultramarine blue into this painting to create a more violety purple, not quite as gray, a more true purple I would call it. So let's get started. I think what I'll do first is just to paint this nectarine that's sitting on the table surface so that you can see that happen. So, and I'm going to start with either pale yellow or medium or yellow, and because that's the lightest color I see, and I'm painting light to dark here. And I'm going to let some colors mix on the picture plane. And I'm going to use my tube colors without mixing them first. I'm going to let them mix together on the paper. And those are the two main yellow spots I see. Up on top, I see a warmer, even deeper yellow up here coming in. And then I think I would choose alizarin crimson next to create a mixture that sort of verges on orange, but since it's not just the primary color, it won't be a bright orange around the edges, but in the center I might go to cadmium red in a minute. But right now I'm in alizarin crimson, permanent alizarin crimson, of course, so that it is light fast. When you use this pigment, you want to make sure that it won't fade over time. So I'm letting these beautiful colors blend together. Love watching that happen. And I make it up around the edge here. And it's, you know, depending on the weather, these pigments can dry kind of fast. Not as fast if you were sitting outside in the sun, but they can just start to dry. So you want to move around your shape kind of, you know, in good time. Because already this area here that I started with is starting to dry a bit. There's some yellow here at the edge. So I'm letting things float and trying to get lots of nice values from the start. Different darker and lighter areas from the start using color. And remember, you can always go back and glaze. If you missed your value, if you got the wrong value and you just feel like it's just way off, you can always go back and glaze. Hopefully it's not too much. Hopefully it's not enough. It's better not to have enough, because then you can go back and add. So now I'm adding a little bit of cadmium red, because this looks really orangey. It's getting hit by the light pretty directly right here. So there's a lot of variety going on here. I can already see I'm getting some feathery effects going here, which I think is fine, and this looks like it may create a watermark, so I'm gonna leave that alone. I don't wanna create watermarks right now, so I'll just leave that alone, except I will add a little bit of, I'm gonna mix a little bit of blue with my alizarin crimson and just go right under this form here. Just look at what that does. It makes it sit down a little bit better right from the start. Just to remember to do that is important. So let's move on to the bowl, and I will do, and why haven't I done the center? Because I don't want it to bleed out into this wet paint around it. So that's a good reason not to do the center while things are starting to dry. So glass is see-through, and we want our glass to give us that feeling. So I'm painting around this blue line that I made with, again, I'm starting with yellow. There's a nice strong yellow also, but it's really warm yellow right here on that little crease, whatever you want to call it. Down in the glass, the colors look a little bit more blurry and they look a little more muted. When you draw carefully and study the shapes that you're looking at, because that is how you can start to see how glass distorts things a little bit. So I'm going to go through the same process. This time I'll start with some really beautiful cadmium red and bring that in. And I think I overstepped it a little bit there, so I watered it down. And again, I'm painting right up to my line that I painted earlier. So I keep my highlight. And there's some more red up here I see. Red, cadmium red is a pretty strong pigment. It's opaque and thick and has a lot of intensity, which means you're going to get a strong effect from it. You're going to get a really strong, bold color. Now, this nectarine here, they have these patterns, gets very deep maroony. So I'm going to add blue and add extra pigment to my brush and get in there and deepen it up right away. And also on the, I'm taking a little bit of pigment off my brush right now, and then I'm going to do that deeper burgundy red over there too. This stroke I made here earlier is probably starting to dry already. So once again, we're going to see this little dimply line come down through. And again, I want to start with the yellow. Yeah, it's a little more hot, and things are drying a little quicker than I anticipated. So what you just want to test that out as you're going along, because it's every day is kind of different. So there is a little white rim above this blue line, and I'm just not going to paint right up to the blue line. And then we still have this yellow down here, which is starting to dry, so I'll re-wet it. And I'm bringing just a little bit, excuse me, of alizarin crimson down here, so that I get a really pretty, sort of light tone, not as deep and strong as the tone at the top. And also notice that when you're looking at the glass, you're going to see some distortion in the shape of this nectarine. You definitely do. It sort of comes out, curves out there, it bumps here like a bump. And that is the distortion that you will always find with painting glass. Yeah. So I'm just going to add a little more bluish, violety, alizarin. I think this needs to be a little bit, yeah, a little bit deeper down there. And for now, that's it. And I'm going to come back and show you some more. I'm going to paint these two nectarines in a similar way and then do the background. So see you in part 2. Thanks for watching.